Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4 are back, but can this remake recapture what made them amazing 2 decades ago? It's the follow-up to the highly praised 1+2 remaster, but this time, the formula doesn't feel quite as fresh. Skating is still tight, the visuals are sharp, but beneath the surface, some design choices hold it back from greatness. Let's break down what works, what doesn't, and whether this remake earns its place in the Tony Hawk legacy. Welcome to What Made This Game Amazing, where I break down every game across 5 core pillars, each scored out of 20 for a final verdict out of 100. Here's how it works. First is fun. Was the game genuinely fun and did it keep me coming back? Second is gameplay. Are the mechanics solid? Are the controls smooth and satisfying? Third is visuals. Does the game look amazing or have a unique style that pulls you in? Fourth is story. Are the characters, dialogue, or world worth exploring? Fifth is value. Was it worth your time and money? Is it memorable? Then we add up each pillar for a score out of 100 and rank it from nowhere near amazing to amazing. Now let's get into it.
Fun, 15 out of 20.
The Tony Hawk franchise has always been centered around one thing: being fun. That much remains true here. You skate through iconic environments, link together massive combos, and push the limits of what's physically possible on a board. The arcade-style gameplay is intact, and the trick-to-trick experience is still very enjoyable. It captures the series' signature energy very well. Pro Skater 3's career mode stands out as the stronger half of the collection. The 2-minute goal structure fits the map size perfectly, and the mission variety remains compelling still to this day. Progression feels natural, and levels are packed with familiar goals that still hold up decades later. However, the fun really falters with Pro Skater 4. These maps are much larger than Pro Skater 3's and were originally designed for a more open world approach, with missions you can pick and choose when needed. Confining them to the 2-minute format feels like a mismatch. It often takes too long to reach objectives, and some sections of the map become irrelevant when there are no missions tied to them. This makes the gameplay feel less intuitive. What's more disappointing is the omission of some memorable missions from the original game. I remember missions like chasing pink elephants or fun mini games like playing baseball with ghosts on Alcatraz. Those have been removed, and it really has stripped the game of its personality. The Carnival and Chicago levels have been completely removed, and the iconic Kona and Zoo maps have been stripped down, reduced to competition stages with no missions or objectives to offer. It feels like a huge chunk of the game has been removed. On the upside, the new content helps balance out the stripped away content in Pro Skater 4's career mode. Maps like Movie Studio and Water Park are new maps and are very well designed and optimized for modern day. They focus heavily on combo flow and environmental design, really encouraging players to naturally link together tricks across the space with subtle hints to do so. These additions show thoughtful understanding of what makes this gameplay loop compelling. These are some of the best maps ever created in the series, and it left me wanting more new content. Online play is another welcome surprise. Skating these nostalgic maps with other players opens up a new way to experience them. Some areas I'd previously ignored came to life as I watched myself and other players create new lines and routes throughout these parts of the map. It added a layer of discovery to these maps that I didn't expect. Overall, the fun is still here, but it's inconsistent, especially with Pro Skater 4. A strong first impression with Pro Skater 3, but that really diminished as I played the other half of the game.
Gameplay, 16 out of 20.
Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4 doesn't attempt to redefine the franchise, and that's by design. This is a remaster that tries to stay faithful to the originals, using the same refined engine as the Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1+2 remake, and that's a strength. Skating feels responsive, trick chaining is satisfying, the learning curve feels fair with natural progression, with the game progressively getting harder per new level. There are layers of mechanics to master while also being very very accessible for newcomers and the new generation. The mechanic known as skitching, which was originally introduced in Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4, is now available across all maps, even on Pro Skater 3 levels. It's a small change, but it adds uniformity. There aren't many vehicles to skitch on these Pro Skater 3 maps, but its inclusion is appreciated when used. The game mainly remains as engaging as ever. Wall plants, reverts, and manuals, grinds are all present, offering players the tools they need to explore every map's potential. Challenges, stat points, and collectibles help round out the progression loop and provide structure to each play session. However, the lack of new systems or major gameplay changes is noticeable. This being the second remake using the same foundation, the gameplay starts to feel too familiar. The series could benefit from more of a substantial evolution if it plans to continue beyond these remakes, which was teased with the new maps. But while feeling familiar, this is still one of the most polished and responsive skating systems ever developed.
Visuals 17 out of 20.
Visually, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4 remake is outstanding. The environments have been completely rebuilt from the ground up, and the result is a game that respects the original maps while elevating them significantly. Each location feels alive with rich textures, vibrant lighting, and thoughtful detail. The environments just pop out at you, literally. You see sparks flying, confetti flying. My favorite map remake is College. It features bold colors and detailed environments that elevate it to a whole new standard. Rio de Janeiro, another standout, with the Outer Bounds area depicted with an ever-expanding favela. And in Canada, distant mountain ranges and falling snow build immersion. It reminded me of Red Dead Redemption 2, which is some high praise. These improvements go beyond simple graphical updates. They really help modernize the entire experience. Performance is strong across the board, the game runs smoothly, some weird physics here and there, but overall felt polished. There's an appreciation here for the franchise's visual identity. This presentation is one of the game's most consistent strengths.
Story 13 out of 20.
In a game like this, story is basically the career mode. Pro Skater 3 follows the classic format: start a level, complete as many objectives as you can in 2 minutes, and unlock the next stage. It's straightforward and effective, with each objective pushing you to explore new parts of the map and really refine your skills. The simplicity works specifically with Pro Skater 3 maps. However, as mentioned before, Pro Skater 4's career is lacking compared to the original open world. The career feels less complete because of it. The loss of variety and subtle storytelling, while minimal and a bit goofy, it just doesn't match the same impact as it had 20 plus years ago. For new players, this might not be noticeable, but longtime fans will likely find it lacking.
Value 14 out of 20.
When the 1+2 remakes launched, it was a major moment for the franchise. It reintroduced the series to a new generation while reminding older fans why they fell in love with it. With 3+4, the novelty has worn off somewhat. The game still provides value, 2 full campaigns, a large roster of levels, skaters, challenges, collectibles, and a pretty robust online mode. The core gameplay remains strong, and there's plenty to do for those interested in completing everything, but the sense of discovery isn't as strong this time around. Once the career is finished, motivation to return depends heavily on personal interest in online or completionist goals. I will have to admit, the new Hawk mode is a creative addition. In this mode, players drop letters around the map, which other players have to then try and collect. It adds a layer of creativity and competition, and it showcases the game's movement mechanics very well. This feature alone adds replayability for more engaged players, especially online. I saw myself coming back to play this game for that mode specifically. Trade a Park, Trade a Skater are decent inclusions, though they feel limited compared to the past iterations or the potential it could have on modern consoles. There is a speed run mode that allows you to test your skills to complete all goals on a specific map. But this is a niche edition and doesn't offer enough incentive to engage me or in honesty the broader player base. The value is there, especially for fans of the original games, but the experience feels more like a revisitation than a reinvention, which is the goal of this game, and it's still a good game, but it just feels less essential than the predecessor of this remake series.
Final score, 75 out of 100.
Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4 Remake is a solid package. It delivers responsive gameplay, strong visuals, and a faithful recreation of the original game's core experience. For fans of the series, it's an enjoyable return to familiar ground to skate on. However, the limitations of the remake format are becoming more apparent, with reused mechanics, missing objectives, and an uneven pacing across maps. This collection doesn't reach the same heights as 1+2. This is a competent, well-made remake that succeeds in many areas, but also reminds us that remasters have a shelf life. For returning fans, there's plenty to enjoy. For newcomers, it's a solid introduction, but moving forward, the franchise will need something more original to recapture the same impact this game once had. With all that being said, Tony Hawk 3+4 for me is kind of amazing. What do you think of the score and the review? Drop your score in the comments down below and let's talk about it. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss any more breakdowns.